Tonight the arena didn't just feel heavy, it felt pressurized, like the moments right before a massive tectonic shift that changes the map of the world forever. Welcome back to Wrestling Apocalypse. If you are breathing, if you have a pulse, and if you've been following the road to WrestleMania 42, then you know that we have just witnessed the impossible. For weeks, the question has been hanging over the WWE like a guillotine: who would be brave enough, or perhaps insane enough, to answer the Beast Incarnate's open challenge? Brock Lesnar, a man who has spent 2 decades turning legends into cautionary tales, stood in that ring tonight looking like a force of nature that had outgrown the very concept of a professional athlete. But as the clock struck 11 and the final segment of Monday Night Raw began, the answer didn't come from the past, and it didn't come from the established main event scene. It came from the mountaintop. It came from the man they call the ruler. Oba Femi has officially accepted the challenge, and folks, the Suplex City era might have just met its final architect. To understand why your heart is pounding right now, we have to look at the cinematic mastery of how this unfolded. Brock Lesnar hasn't just been an athlete lately, he's been a ghost in the machine, appearing only to destroy and then vanishing into the snowy woods of Saskatchewan. When he grabbed that microphone tonight, he didn't give us a 5-minute promo. He didn't need to. He just looked at the camera with that terrifying, predatory grin, that look that says he knows exactly how many bones he's about to break, and he asked if there was a real man left in this industry. The silence that followed was suffocating. We were all expecting the music of a returning hero or maybe a veteran looking for one last payday. But instead, the lights in the arena didn't just go out, they turned a deep, royal gold. And then came that rhythm. That slow, heavy, percussive beat that sounds like the footfalls of an approaching giant. When Oba Femi stepped onto that ramp, the visual was something out of a blockbuster movie. You have Brock Lesnar, the ultimate predator of the modern era, and you have Oba Femi, the man who has spent the last year in NXT and on the main roster proving that he isn't just a powerhouse, he is a sovereign. He walked down that ramp with a level of composure that we haven't seen in someone facing Lesnar since the early days of The Undertaker. He didn't run. He didn't shout. He just marched, draped in that aura of inevitability, looking Brock Lesnar dead in the eye. When Oba stepped over the top rope, the scale of this match finally hit home. We are used to seeing Brock tower over his opponents, but Oba Femi stood there, chest to chest, and for the first time in a decade, Brock Lesnar had to look up. The crowd wasn't just cheering, they were in a state of primitive awe. This wasn't a wrestling fan reaction, this was the sound of 15,000 people realizing they were standing in the presence of 2 apex predators. Oba didn't wait for Brock to speak. He reached out, grabbed the microphone out of the Beast's hand, a move that usually results in an immediate trip to Suplex City, and he simply said, "A beast has no place in a kingdom. At WrestleMania, I do not just defeat you, I colonize your legacy." The dialogue was short, but the stakes are infinite. Backstage, our sources at Wrestling Apocalypse are telling us the locker room went into a state of total paralysis. We've heard reports that several veteran superstars were standing near the monitors in the gorilla position with their jaws on the floor. One producer, who spoke to us on the condition of anonymity, said he's never seen a young star hold that much ground against Brock without blinking. Usually, there's a flicker of fear, a telltale sign of nerves. With Oba Femi, there was nothing but cold, calculated dominance. It's as if he's already played this match out in his head 1,000 times and seen himself standing over the broken body of the beast. Let's talk about the physical reality of what we're about to see at WrestleMania 42. We are talking about 2 men who collectively weigh over 550 pounds of pure, explosive muscle. We are talking about the collision of the F5 and the Femi bomb. The commentary team of Michael Cole and Wade Barrett were struggling to find words that fit the magnitude of the moment. Cole was shouting about the changing of the guard, but Barrett, who knows a thing or two about being a heavy hitter, was focused on the technical nightmare this presents for Brock. Lesnar's entire game plan is built on intimidation and the ability to manhandle his opponents. How do you manhandle a man who is built like a brick wall and has the agility of a linebacker? The fan perspective on social media is absolutely erupting. Within minutes of the segment ending, Oba vs Brock became the #1 trending topic worldwide. The debates are already raging. Is Oba Femi ready for this level of pressure? Is this the moment where Brock finally meets his match in a pure test of strength? Some fans are calling it the Hulk vs Thanos of the wrestling world. There is a sense of genuine danger here that we haven't felt in years. This isn't a scripted feeling rivalry, it feels like a sanctioned tragedy waiting to happen. Think about the psychological toll this takes on the rest of the WrestleMania card. Everything else just got pushed into the shadow of this gargantuan encounter. We're hearing that the creative team is having to restructure the entire flow of the show because how do you follow this? How do you follow the sight of two titans trying to erase each other from existence? Oba Femi is representing the future, a future that doesn't ask for permission. Brock Lesnar represents the ironclad gatekeeper of the past. If Oba wins, the ruler isn't just a nickname, it's a job description for the next 10 years of this business. But we can't count out the beast. Brock Lesnar thrives when he's challenged by someone who thinks they are his equal. We remember what he did to John Cena at SummerSlam. We remember the way he dismantled The Undertaker's streak. Brock doesn't just win matches, he ends eras. If Oba Femi isn't careful, his ascent to the throne won't end in a coronation, it will end in a hospital bed. The Suplex City signs were out in force tonight, but for the first time, they were being held by fans who looked genuinely worried. The pacing of this rivalry is going to be a slow-burn masterclass in violence. We are expecting training montages that look like something out of a Rocky movie. We are expecting the ruler to continue his path of destruction on Raw to send messages to the beast. Every time Oba hits a powerbomb, he's going to be looking at the camera, talking directly to Brock. And every time Brock appears, he's going to be looking to see if he can finally find that crack in Oba's armor. This is the apocalypse we have been waiting for, the collision of two worlds where only one can survive the impact. We here at Wrestling Apocalypse are going to be tracking every single update. We've got analysts looking at Oba's grip strength compared to Brock's. We're reaching out to former opponents of both men to see who they think has the edge in a pure brawl. This isn't just a big match. This is the match that defines a generation. This is the moment where we find out if the ruler is a title that can withstand the storm of the beast. I want to hear from you, the smartest and most passionate community in wrestling. Are you Team Ruler or Team Beast? Can Oba Femi actually lift Brock Lesnar? Or is he about to learn why they call Lesnar the Conqueror? Is WrestleMania 42 going to be the site of a coronation or a massacre? Get down in those comments and let your voice be heard. We read every single one of them, and your theories are what keep this channel fueled. If you're feeling the adrenaline as much as we are, hit that like button to show your support for the channel. It helps us keep the lights on while we hunt for the truth in the shadows of the WWE. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update, because as we head toward WrestleMania, the apocalypse isn't just a name, it's the forecast. The beast has his challenger, the ruler has his prey, and the world is about to watch them collide. I've been your host for Wrestling Apocalypse. Watch your back, stay focused, and we'll see you at the next bell. Tonight the arena didn't just feel heavy, it felt pressurized, like the moments right before a massive tectonic shift that changes the map of the world forever. Welcome back to Wrestling Apocalypse. If you are breathing, if you have a pulse, and if you've been following the road to WrestleMania 42, then you know that we have just witnessed the impossible. For weeks, the question has been hanging over the WWE like a guillotine: who would be brave enough, or perhaps insane enough, to answer the Beast Incarnate's open challenge? Brock Lesnar, a man who has spent 2 decades turning legends into cautionary tales, stood in that ring tonight looking like a force of nature that had outgrown the very concept of a professional athlete. But as the clock struck 11 and the final segment of Monday Night Raw began, the answer didn't come from the past, and it didn't come from the established main event scene. It came from the mountaintop. It came from the man they call the ruler. Oba Femi has officially accepted the challenge, and folks, the Suplex City era might have just met its final architect. To understand why your heart is pounding right now, we have to look at the cinematic mastery of how this unfolded. Brock Lesnar hasn't just been an athlete lately, he's been a ghost in the machine.